Hey, it's Pierre. I got a review today of the famous, the unforgettable, classic racket, the Carboflex 125S. I played with this very briefly when it first came out, which I think was 2 years ago, and I liked it when I hit with it, but I only got to kind of play with it in one game very briefly. Thanks to Derek from dlsports.de in Germany for sending me this racket. That's one of my affiliates, DL Sports, and thanks to Derek for sending me this racket to review. Finally, this is probably the most popular racket. It's certainly since I've started Squash Source, it feels like this is the racket that's been the most popular over the years I've been doing this. And why is that? Well, I'm going to tell you how it played, but I think a lot of the reason for that was this racket it looks great. They did a fantastic job with the design. Red, black, and white. It's based on the prior Carboflex model, which also was a good a top seller, I think. The original Carboflex 125, that one was the black and yellow one, and that was very popular as well. And this one kind of followed in footsteps, and they had great advertising. It had this poster you've probably seen if you've been watching squash racket advertisements for any length of time of Mohamed El-Sharbaghi like punching his fist in the air with this racket and an awesome a Tecnifibre shirt to match. This is used by Sharbaghi, it's used by Nour El-Sherbini, it's used by just about everyone, it seems. It's tons of top pros, not everyone, but it's used by a lot of top pros, and it's used all over the juniors and all over club players as well. So, I'll tell you about the racket now. I played with it today at length, and the thing about this racket is it's pretty light, okay? It's 153.8 grams on my scale, and it's pretty headlight, 36 centimeters. I've seen some places say less than that even. And it's always hard for me to judge the stiffness of a racket, but it feels kind of like a medium stiffness, not super stiff. And I've been hitting with a racket recently. It's a bit stiffer, I think, and it's a bit head heavier and a bit heavier because I kind of go back and forth, and I've been wanting to get back to a racket that kind of just feels like it's solid all the way through. I want to get away from being kind of whippy with my racket, so the one I'm using now is kind of like a battleship. It just feels like, once you start that momentum, it's doing the work for you. It's harder work to get your racket back, but once you do, you just swing through, and it's a nice crisp shot. It's almost like you can't just dink it because you have to swing through. The Carboflex is, I think, on the other side of the coin. You really need to have, I think you have to have pretty good racketability to use this racket. And it took me a little while to adjust to it. I've only been using it just today. I hit with maybe briefly another day, but really this is the first time. I played with it for like 10 games today, so I finally got the hang of it. And I really think this is the best type of racket for someone who honestly just likes to put a lot of spin on the ball, likes to move their racket while they're swinging, has good racket control. Because you can really, because it's light and pretty headlight, ball's coming, you don't have to take a huge backswing, you can get it back quickly, you can use your wrist to go through it, both sides, or you can come around the ball and apply a lot of spin, both on drives and on short shots, in a way that you can't with a kind of heavier racket. If you have a heavy racket, yeah, of course you can put spin on it, but it's hard. It's just a bit more difficult to maneuver in the heat of the moment. That has its downsides though, which is that you have to get your racket ready. You have to have good preparation. You have to have good racket skills in order to make the most of it. I think if you're a young junior and and you want just a lighter racket that looks cool, I don't want to say anyone shouldn't use it if they're feeling good on it. But I do think if this racket, although it's used by everyone and their cousin, in my opinion, takes a fair amount of racketability to really use it to its full effectiveness. So let me show you a little more of the cosmetics while I got it. So first of all, one of the big changes, here's the Tecnifibre Absolute Squash grip from Tecnifibre. Again, just great design. They really killed it on this. They've been doing a good job for years, Tecnifibre has. Now, one of the big changes from the previous Carboflex was this bumper guard. It's got this channel, and the strings are kind of tucked in there. It's a little hard to see because it's black strings on black, but it's got this channel, so they're tucked in there for extra protection of your strings. And the other neat feature, I don't know if it's a little bit of a gimmick or what, but you can actually take off the bumper guard, and just to make it even head lighter. I think Sherbaggy does that. You have to restring it in order to do that, but you can take off this plastic piece here, just leaving the bare frame, and maybe that'll make it a little less durable if you're smacking into the wall. But if not, you are able to make it even a little head lighter. And what else can I show you? Tecnifibre there. Gosh, it's a good looking racket. Anyway, so I enjoyed my hit with it today. It took me, like I said, a little bit to adjust to it. Coming from a heavier racket, I really had to get myself prepared properly and when using this racket. But in the end, it is an enjoyable one to hit with. This is the Tecnifibre Carboflex 125S.